Welcome to Digimon.
Hey guys, and welcome to Digimon. Today we bring you a yellow vaccine deck profile, and this is a deck profile you will see have alterations from other deck profiles you may have seen. The yellow vaccine deck is a really versatile build. You'll always see another profile with a different card than what you were expecting, maybe different ratios, and it's something that I'm really fond of. I do like the fact that no two decks of these are alike, so I'd like to show you the one that I've been thinking of running for a little while now, and at the end we'll go over a couple of different options you can run. If you are a fan of the content that you see today, please give us a like and subscribe. It would be really great for the channel, and please do have a look at some of our other videos if you are interested in our Digimon content. Without further ado, let's have a look at the deck. First of all, we're going to have a look at the eggs we're running. Now this one was really popular in BT15 when we started getting some yellow cards that really kind of like centralized the yellow vaccine deck, but I'm still running the BT13 Caramon. This egg has the Yorton effect of when a card is removed from security stack, you can give one of your Digimon jamming. Not just this itself, you can give one of your Digimon jamming. I really like this one, and this is the main reason that I run the deck that I do. You're going to see some older cards that maybe don't get played nearly as much anymore, but it's the variant that I've been running with, and like I said, at the end we'll go over some other variations to the same deck. Now, the core of the deck is still going to be the 4BT14 Patamon. This is a stupidly strong card with the effect to be able to essentially digivolve into any vaccine in your security and then refill your security again is so good. The fact that as well the inheritable will trigger mid digivolution is going to be is exactly why this card is so good. Essentially you start with one extra memory every turn. Alongside the Patamon, again, it's pretty standard. I have seen some decks dropping it. I am a bit iffy with this one myself, but the deck needs some searches, so we've gone with the 4BT13 Kudamon with the effect to, on play, reveal the top three, add a yellow vaccine and a yellow tamer among them to your hand is really great. So you do run quite a lot of tamers in this deck anyway, but giving yourself the additional opportunity to add a tamer before needing to draw into them via your digivolutions will come in handy to allow you to kind of like sieve through your pieces a lot quicker. And this one, while it's not my typical kind of card, because this has got that flexibility in your last four slots, I am currently just going with the floodgate of the BT9 Pillowmon. Reason being is there's a lot of decks that are just playing Digimon by effects outright, so this allows us the chance to counter those builds. Numon's a really big one, but there are many other decks. The Terriermon Lotmon package that got buffed up with the double Typhoon deck also gets nerfed by this because their double Typhoon's not going to be able to let them delay to play a Terriermon. So it does counter quite a few decks. If you're not a fan of the floodgates like myself, there is another card that I have been using for a good little while, and it was the what is the name of the set? It's a Patamon from ST3. I believe it has the inheritable of when a Digimon's DP is reduced to 0, you get to gain a memory. But for the time being, because we want to be a little bit more competitive with this build, we're just going to stick with the Floodgate Pillowmon right there. And that's it for our level 3s. We are then going straight to the level 4s. We are running, as I say, this has got some older cards, but we're going to go with the BT6 Bulkmon. Now this is really why I really fell into this deck overall. The yellow vaccine build is because this finally started getting some use. While you have 3 more security, this gains security +1. Combo that with digivolving from Patamon for free during your turn 2, gaining a memory. Then you combo that with your egg to decide, oh, actually, a card's been removed from a security. I can give the Bulkmon with security +1 jamming, and that's basically it. After that combo, I decided, like, no, this is the deck I want to be playing. This is really cool. It's really aggressive, really early, and really does give you that burst damage, and that's really why I like this build still. Now, not a lot of people are playing the Bulkmons anymore. A lot of people are now playing the BT15 Gatomon, which I do agree is a very good, really good card, and does combo with said BT14 Patamon, being able to gain the inheritable to gain a memory mid-digivolution. And the Gatomon actually does recognize that security, you have lost security, so its own effect allows you to gain a memory through that as well. So with the Patamon, you'll actually gain 2 memory if you have got that Gatomon in your security. But for my build, I am sticking with something a little bit more traditional. I'd like to play some early aggro cards. So it's the Bulkmon for me, and at the moment, the 2 copies of Rapidmon ST17. I kind of need to apologise that the bunnies and the Terriermon package is showing up in so many decks. But previously, we were running BT8 Rapidmon in this for the sake of, normally it would cost you 4 to Digivolve. With the option cards in this deck, you can Digivolve for the cost of 1, essentially free, depending on what your setup is. And that would allow you to suspend a Digimon, give Digimon minus 5,000, and that was a really strong card. This one I prefer a little bit more because it, as I said, I want something a bit more aggressive. So this Digimon being a, when you swing, not only do you have Armor Purge, but you also then get to reduce their security stack, giving you that chance to survive the swing. And then you can also give a Digimon minus 4,000 DP as well. I am tempted to bump this one up to 3 by replacing another Digimon you'll see in a second, which is 3 copies of BT14 Angemon. I won't lie, the Angemon I haven't seen as effective in recent games. So I am tempted just to drop this to, I say 2, I'm going to go with the 2 that actually pair. No, I like the old art. We'll keep that. If I was to drop it to 2, I do think it would make room to play 3 copies of the Rapidmon instead. But for the time being, to try and keep some of the Angel themes that came with BT14 and 15, I'm going to run the 3 BT14 Angemons. It does still grant you a chance to remove a virus Digimon your opponent has with the when attacking effect of Angemon, and the on deletion does come up as well to decide, actually, I will just swing into you. You are more likely to be deleted unless you've somehow given it jamming through your egg. But even if you do, because not only have you hit them, they've lost security, it then gives itself the chance to put itself on the bottom of your security, just increasing your life overall, and then letting you hatch an egg to get you ready to swing for the next turn. So this one does still have its uses. I do still like this one, just maybe not 3 copies. And this one's really obvious. I won't go too much into it. Is the limited Geogramon BT13. Search security and play a ready yellow tamer. It's basically TK. It's basically old TK, because if you do play a tamer, you then recover. It's a silly card. It's a very silly card, and I'm not going to say too much about it. That's it for our level 4 lineup in this deck. Moving on to our level 5s, we are running, again, this is really obvious, but it is 4 copies of the BT2 Rise Greymon. I was previously working out a combination of the BT2 Rise Greymon and the Rise Greymon X antibody, but overall, you really want to see the inheritable in this one, and you'll very rarely get that chance to Rise Greymon, then Rise Greymon X to get the most out of your level 5 position. So we're just going to go with something a little bit more consistent, and just when Digivolving, play Yellow Tamer. You don't get the on-play effects, but that's fine, because the inheritable you've got from this is what you want to be giving yourself that chance to trigger. Is your turn, if you've got 3 more Tamers, this Digimon gets a security attack +1, and that goes really nicely with the level 6s. So we are running more Yellow Tamers in this deck. I think on average, Yellow Tamers are about 6 to 8 in a yellow deck nowadays. Alongside the Rise Greymon, we are playing 3 copies. This is a newer edition. I was previously running Magna Angemon, but we're changing up to Angelwoman Ace. I do apologise, that one's not on the same colour sleeve. This one's normally kept pretty on the side for my girlfriend, but on this occasion I bring out the old art for us. The Angelwoman Ace is really cool, and it does a lot more DP reduction overall than the Magna Angemon Ace, because that one does a DP reduction based on your number of security. This one costs you trash in the top of your security to give one of your opponent's Digimon minus 6k. 6k range is still quite large. It can remove quite a lot of threats. The smaller threats, that is. But then when you do remove from your security all turns once per turn, you'll recover anyway. So you're not really killing yourself. You're not actually reducing your own life. You'll just balance out, but it's a nice little trigger. The Angemon Ace obviously does normally go very well with the aforementioned BT15 Gatomon that we have mentioned. There is a yellow deck that does want you stacking your security more often. You'll be more selective when you're triggering your trashes, because you'll trigger a lot of them as well. On this occasion, it is mostly there because, for the sake of blast Digivolving your opponent's turn, this one's really cool. It will delete more, and you will still recover, kind of. You're not plussing 1 from this, you are just balancing out. If you do prefer the Magna Angemon just to gain the 1 outright, then go for it, but on this occasion I'm going for the Angelwoman Ace. And that's it. We're just running the 7 level 5s in this deck. Previously it was 8, but we kind of want to make some room for some of the options in this deck as well. Now the main, I've just lost them. The main level 6 we run is the Seraphimon BT14. I was running this at 3 copies. I won't lie, I've just lost the other one. I don't know where I've put it, but I'm trying something out anyway. As I said, I prefer a yellow, a bit more aggression in this build. So I would normally run this at 3, but I'm trying out alongside it the 3 Venusmon. Reason being, because if we are aggroing at an earlier stage with our level 4s and even our 5s, because even Rise Greymon's got pretty decent DP stat on it, and if you've given it jamming, then you're fine to do that too. If you've done some early swings, then there's no harm in just going, cool, while I've really dragged down your life, I'll just end with a Venusmon. It might be suspended because you've already done your swings, but you then put the 1 Digimon effect of Venusmon on all your opponent's Digimon that get security attack -1. So you just buy yourself potentially another turn, and you'll also nerf their when attacking, when digivolving effects by the opponent's turn effect of anything with a security attack -1 or security attack +1 keyword on their card, even one you give it, then they can't trigger the when attacking, when digivolvings. So that's a really good card. Venusmon doesn't need a lot of explaining. It's a really, really good card. And the Seraphimon, again, just when digivolving, recover 1. Just great Angemon like effect of just heal yourself. With the all turns then saying that if a card is added to your security, you give something -7k, and this gets security attack +1. So the security attack +1, if you are then able to stack that with your Rise Greymon BT2, you're going to go in for a swing as a 12k, maybe with jamming, depending on how you played the turn, and you're then taking out 3 checks. So you're just hitting 1, security attack +1, and then if you've got the Rise Greymon, security attack +1, and that's really cool. The 7000 DP range is a little middling, considering we're doing 6k off Angelwoman Ace anyway. 7k off the Seraphimon feels kind of weak. But there is an alternative to this card that I've liked for a little while, but because it does outright give itself security attack +1, and because of your option, you'll very rarely only pay the 1 instead of the 4. That, for the time being, I think this is going to be the right one to work with. It also works really well with Shadow Seraphimon if you did want to run that too. I personally find that, unfortunately, with Shadow Seraphimon's on the board, it's easy to get around. It's similar vein to Venusmon, but I overall prefer Venusmon over Seraphimon because it is a vaccine, and unfortunately Shadow Seraphimon is not. That is it for the Digimon. Going straight into the options, it's a really obvious one, because we are playing a yellow deck and they're all yellow cards. We are running the 4 yellow physical training, just for the sake of reveal 2, add any 1 yellow card, and then later on when you digivolve to a yellow Digimon, it costs you 2 less. Put these in every deck you can. Now we are running 4, which some of you might think is quite hefty, but 4 of the Emissary of Hope. Emissary of Hope is just a really strong card. Paying 1 to, if you've looked at a security stack enough through your various Digimon effects, then you should be able to play this in time to know, like, cool, I've got a level 4, there's a Rise Greymon hitting my security, I can now play this. So essentially just digivolve for 1, digivolve into that Digimon, and if you've got a TK Tamer out, then you just recover that as well. So you're not losing your life out, it only costs you the 1. And if you've happened to got a Patamon inheritable beneath you as well, then you recover that 1 memory you've paid as well. The security does come up as well. That's why I quite like this one at 4, because not only do you get to play a Patamon from your hand or trash, you then get to add this card to your hand. Overall, because this is a more aggressive build, I'm not opting to play more security control based options. I say security control, as in more cards that I would expect to really want in security, and most of the time maybe be too expensive in hand. You've got a lot of DP reduction with some of your Digimon anyway, so hopefully if you've played the game well enough, if it's in your favor, the aggro you're able to get early on, if you're able to get a burst in, and the DP reduction you can do later, hopefully will help you secure the game before you would have needed an option card. That is basically it for the options. It's just basically consistency. So the agility training is just to help you get your pieces, and the Messenger of Hope to digivolve into your pieces into your security. The tamers, though, we run 4 copies of the TK Takaishi BT15. Really obvious one. It's really good. When you play it, return the top of your security stack to your hand to place a yellow vaccine from your hand at the bottom of your security. So if you know, okay, I've got the Patamon I can put into your raising area. If it's turn 1, for example, put the Patamon in your raising area, you can then play your TK to put a level 4 in your hand that you do want to digivolve into, ideally Bulkmon, for me personally, to then make sure that in your next turn, the Patamon comes out, start a main phase, you digivolve into Bulkmon for free. The great thing about TK as well is every time you place a card into your security stack, during your turn, you can suspend it to gain 1. So TK itself will only cost 2 when you play it, and then later on when you pay another, cost 3, but you get back 2. Later on, If you do it again, you get to tap them and it's free. And it's a really, really good tame. I really like this one. The other tamers we do play are just only two of the BT1 TK with the, it's a memory tamer. So start of your turn, you're going to start with 3. And then on play, look at your security stat, reveal a card in it and add it to your hand. You can actually add any card. It's only if you add a yellow card do you get the recovery. So sometimes it does come up, mostly in security control decks where you play multiple cards. Obviously every card in this is yellow, so you are going to balance out. Not really an issue. Now, another one I am trying out is the 2 copies of Kari Kamiya from BT8. This one is also another memory tamer, but with the effect of when a card is added to your security stack, you can suspend this to gain 1, which you do a lot of. You are constantly adding cards to your security, whether it's taking cards out and then putting them back in. It's just a case of being able to generate more memory in your turn. If you miss the hope Messenger of Hope, you are then able to kind of reclaim some of that memory back on your Digivolution. So a Digivolution to Seraphimon, you can go, oh, it cost me 4, but gain 1 back here, gain 1 back here, gain 1 back here, whatever you need to do, and then it's much cheaper then. It also means that if you've only got a TK or if you've only got a Kari, that Messenger of Hope, depending on what you go into, is going to pay for itself. But that is basically it. That's the deck. I did want to go over a couple of the options that you can run for this. As I said, there are so many different ways to play this deck. In fact, one build that I was running in was purely with Angelwomons as the level 5 line. Mostly because when I pulled the pre-release, what were they called? Angelwomon X's, I really wanted to keep going with that mid-range recovery and play it through there. And I thought it was really fun. But what you can run instead, if you have got the cards available, like we mentioned earlier, if you do like this Seraphimon top end, run 3 copies of it. You're then welcome to play the EX4 Shadow Seraphimon. It is kind of like an onboard threat. During your opponent's turn, it's not even once per turn, but when a card's removed from your security stack, you de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. So it does put the pressure on them if they do decide to go swinging at you. And then when this does die, you just recover 1. And then give something minus 4k for each of your security in your security stack. So it's a problem if your opponent does delete it, but I have found in some instances that the opponent is just able to Heaven's Judgment it. It's like, cool, it does get deleted. They recover 1, but my Digimon weren't affected as much. It depends on your board, and it really does depend. But in personal history, I've not had as much luck with this card. But it's entirely up to you. If you like it, you like it. It's cool because the Seraphimon Digivolves on top 4 only 1. But I do find that it not being a vaccine does unfortunately conflict with a lot of the deck as well. So you can't add it with the Kudamon. You can't then Digivolve into it with the Messenger of Hope. It's not as flexible as I'd like it to be. As we mentioned, there is Rise Greymon X antibody can run as well. You could go 3-3 on the Rise Greymons. It does depend on how many blasts, the Ace Digimon you want to run. Again, it's when Digivolve and just play a yellow-red tamer, but you do get the added effect of giving a Digimon minus 2,000 for each of your yellow-red tamers if you've Digivolved on top of Rise Greymon on this deck. Another one that I really, really, really like, and if I wasn't running Venusmon, I'd be running this instead, is Goldramon. Reason being is it is still a vaccine Digimon. It's also got the aggressive effect of when you Digivolve, you play 2 tokens, one Amon and one Umon. Now, the cool feature to this one is Amon comes with Rush. So as soon as you Digivolve, you've got another token alongside it that you can go swing with security attack potentially off the Rise Greymon, swing with that, and even if it dies, you just poke down your opponent's security, and it's really cool. And if this does get removed, if you delete any of your tokens, should they have survived, you get to recover 1. I really like this one. I've opted out of it for the sake of the profile to give you something that's a little bit more standard, I think. But I give it a go and tell us what you think. You've then got the standard, kind of like the new Kari package that you can run. The new Salamons, the Kari BT15, Revelation of Light is another really cool option. And unfortunately, I do not have it, but the BT15 Gatomon is really cool as well. As I said, the Gatomon does really pair well with the BT14 Patamon to start your turn, essentially just gain 2 memory. Start your main phase to, if you've got 3 more security, add the top security to your hand, and then place a vaccine that you need to in the bottom of your security. Does pair well with Messenger of Hope still. I might even decide to run this instead of the Pillarmon for the locals tonight. This is really cool. It does also have the inheritable when your all turns, when a card's removed from your security, give something minus 2k. So if your opponent does just chip into you, you're then just degrading down one of their Digimon. And this one's a really cool option as well, is the Revelation of Light. For one, it's another one of those, the newer card says if it's trash from security, you get to trigger its security effect still to give all your opponent's Digimon minus 5k. All your opponent's Digimon and security Digimon minus 5k until the end of their turn. But it also does allow you to play a level 4 yellow from your security, which depending on the deck you play can be a really cool like sneaky play effect from there, but it's not one I really want to give a go in this. A couple of cards I also really like. It's not one I'd recommend maybe, but this is one of the decks I was really thinking was going to get a buff from the new support immediately, is the old Gatomon ST10 build. Alongside one of my favorite cards is a Finimon fall down mode. Now, the reason I would have maybe given this combo a go, I used to play, it was kind of called like a Finimon loop. It wasn't so much a loop, but if you were able to get this stack right, you'd be swinging for security attack +1. If it then dies, you'd play a black Gatomon from your trash to get rush with the on deletion. And with this, you can still give it a go while you don't really want to be playing it, unless, of course, you want to play the Gatomon off the Revelation of Light effect, which we can do. The on-play to reveal the top 3 cards, add a purple or yellow Digimon. You'll only be getting the yellow nearly every time, but you would have the chance to get purple. The other one is if you then digivolve into an Archangel or Fallen Angel, the cost is reduced by 2. So if start of your turn, your Patamon digivolves into this in your security, you then digivolve this into an Angelwomon, you're only paying 1 memory to do that step. And the Angelwomon is, if you've got a variety of Angelwomons you could have played, you've got the, I think it was BT11 to then look at your security to even try and fetch a Finimon from there. But even if you don't do that, if you're lucky enough to have Messenger of Hope stacked up and this in your security, a Finimon fall down mode, unlike Shadow Seraphimon, is still a vaccine. So that's a really cool like trait to have on that one. It still works with this deck. And if you do happen to have the Gatomon or just any purple beneath it, you're going to be able to pop a level 4 or low Digimon and then recover 1 for having yellow. So I still really like this one. It's one that I'm probably going to give a go every now and then. But overall, you'll probably find that the new Gatomon is still the better option overall, because this one's more restrictive into the deck. If you're running your Angels or your level 5s, you'll technically save more memory this way, but the BT15 Gatomon overall does save you more memory for more flexible yellow deck. That's about everything I've got for you today. Thank you for clicking on the video, and if you did enjoy the content, please give us a like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you liked, what you wanted to give a go, or maybe some things that you didn't agree with. Have you been running this a little differently? Tell us all in the comments and we'll get back to you. Until next one, keep it digital.